don't let the name fool you. Dead Effect 2 isn't a rip-off mix of Dead Space and Mass Effect. It's just a rip-off of Dead Space. For anyone that remembers the honestly really good CG trailer for Dead Island, you know, the really powerful, dramatic scene of a girl turning into a zombie and attacking her family, yeah, well, Dead Effect 2 has one of those as its opening cinematic. And just like Dead Island, it in no way whatsoever represents the game I'm going to play. Okay, let's get into it. While it may name and advertise itself to look like a low-budget Dead Space, it's actually much closer to a low-budget Doom. And much like Doom, there's no real story to Dead Effect. Unlike Doom though, that's not for a lack of trying. In terms of presentation, I've seen worse. That said, the story and the way it's presented to the player is actually awful.
Bullshit.
Combine that with some truly terrible voice acting and writing, and we've got a disaster case on our hands. There's also random collectibles with what I guess you could call backstory. Honestly, I don't have it in me to make a snide remark about the findable notes. They didn't put the effort in, so why should I?
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
But that's all fine. Games like Doom are mainly propped up by their gameplay, and that shouldn't be any different for Dead Effect. So again, it's a real big shame that it's trash as well. I started as the sword guy, since as you probably remember, he was the coolest, and I quite regretted that after I realised that the sword combat was, how can I put it, dog shit. But again, it's okay, it's fine. Obviously it's trying to be like Doom, so maybe the gunplay is where the real meat. No, it's not, it's trash as well. Outside of the sword, you've got a bow, which is of course the most common weapon to find on a spaceship in the far future. To be fair to it though, it might actually be the fastest, most powerful bow that ever existed, ever. Rounding out the gameplay, there's a handful of what you, I guess, could call mini-games that you have to do when opening containers and doors. Not all of them are born equal. Some, like the match up the lines and toddler-level math puzzles, are fairly standard. And then you've got the ones where you repeatedly tap the A button to kick a cabinet 50 million times. Oh, and of course, the all-time classic, hold down a button for 10 seconds. Sometimes I just cannot comprehend how far video games have come. On a side note as well, what is it with games on consoles and using the bloody Destiny cursor? Like, I know it's in Dead Effect 2 because it's yet another thing from a recognisable game that they can rip off, but I just wish they'd stop. Anyway, moving on. I don't want to be rude to the game, but the only word I can use to describe how it looks is absolutely fucking disgusting. Sometimes I feel bad for thinking that. Then I remember that better indie devs use the tools they have at their disposal to create something clever within their limits, which, as you can probably guess, Dead Effect 2 doesn't do. What it does do though is be so very bad, it's kind of funny. I'd call the humour juvenile, but I don't even think primary school kids would find this shit funny.
Babysitting fat naked guys sucks.
The one thing I will give this game is consistency. It's not often you know exactly how you feel about a game in the first 5 minutes. I could have written this entire review based solely on the tutorial, because nothing changes. Unfortunately, I gave Dead Effect 2 the benefit of the doubt and played more than 5 minutes of it, which was an unfortunate mistake on my part. At the end of the day though, Dead Effect 2 suffers from the same plight as so many other countless indie games. It's trying to do more than it's capable of, so it just ends up being a mismatched mess of ideas and concepts, none of which work together, or had the time and attention they needed. In case it wasn't already crystal clear, I'd say don't play it. Get Doom instead. If this is Dead Effect 2, God only knows what Dead Effect 1 looks like. Hey guys, thanks for joining me on this terrible, terrible space adventure. Have any of you fallen trapped to Dead Effect 1 or 2? If you actually enjoyed it, please let me know. Maybe I'm in the wrong here. And if you did have the time to leave a like, or even subscribe, we would appreciate that so much. Cheers.